2 years ago I made a video called Best Camera Gear of 2017. Last year I made a video called Best Camera Gear of 2018. So this year I had a really bright idea to make a video called Best Camera Gear of 2019. Before we go any further, I do need to say something because I don't want you to get angry with me and annoyed because of what I choose, which generally happens, well, it happened anyway because it is the internet. But to qualify for these Best Camera Gear awards, it needs to be something that I personally have used. Because how can I possibly give an award for something that I've never used? So if I do say something for Best Whatever, there could well be something better out there. But if I've never used it, it doesn't qualify. Sorry. If you don't like what I've chosen, here's a suggestion. Make your own Best Camera Gear of 2019 video. Well, if you can't get it for this year, do it for next year, but you might need to change title. If you subscribe to my channel and are a regular viewer, you'll know that statement actually makes no sense because there is no such thing as regular viewing for my channel because my uploads are so random. I will have like 3 quite quickly and then none for a month. Because I do have my normal filmmaking work outside of what you're watching, which is my main job. But I am planning to do more regular stuff on YouTube starting next year. And to make that work for me financially, which is of course important because I do have cats to feed and bills to pay, I am taking on sponsorship for some of the videos, starting with this one. This video is brought to you by Skillshare. Most of the categories are going to be the same categories as last year, but they do change a little bit based upon what actually comes out, because if there is nothing of that category that I have used that's new this year, then there can be no award for it. But we are going to start with something small. We're going to start with Best Action Camera of 2019. In the summer, DJI brought out their Osmo Action, which was their first action camera. What made it unique was the front screen on the front, as opposed to the front screen on the back, which they call the rear screen. And it had a lot going for it, and I actually did make a video, which was supposed to be a simple comparison between it and its closest competitor, the GoPro Hero 7. But it completely ballooned into this ridiculously over-the-top comparison video that took me way too long to make. In that video, I didn't come to a conclusion of which is the best. The Osmo Action did certain things better than the Hero 7 did. So it does make it quite difficult, especially now that the Hero 8 has come out. But just from my use of which one I've been picking up more regularly, it has actually been the Osmo Action because of that front screen. I have found it incredibly useful for setting shots up. I still prefer the image from the Hero 7 and now the Hero 8, but the practicality of that front screen means that is my best action camera of 2019. This next one is a new award for 2019, and I think it will appease a few people watching. It is Best Piece of Camera Gear that I've not used, but the specs look really cool, so I really should try and use it at some point. There's lots of things which qualify for this, of course, because there's loads of things I have not gone anywhere near. But there is one camera that has come out this year which has incredibly good specs, and I haven't used it, and I'd like to use it. And it is the first stills camera that shoots video that has been approved by Netflix, and that is the Panasonic S1H. I mean, look at these features: 6K full frame with true anamorphic support, 10-bit internal recording, 4K slow motion up to 60p, full HD up to 180 frames per second, flippy screen, dual ISO, fantastic 5-axis IBIS, and Panasonic IBIS is great. It doesn't have good autofocus, which is one of the things which for me is the only downside in these specs. I know a lot of people think I don't love Panasonic cameras and I am just Sony. It's not true at all. I have everything. Sony, Fuji, Pentax, Canon, I've got them all. And Panasonics, I've loved Panasonics ever since the GH1. I did the launch video for that and the GH3, and I've owned them all up to the GH5. I just didn't get any after that. And I would love to get my hands on this camera for a long-term test and see if it really is as good as it sounds. So if anybody who's watching from Panasonic, please get in touch. I would love to see if this is good as it sounds. In the meantime, next up is another new category, most useful product of 2019. Okay, useful products, that could be anything. It could be a camera. Cameras are useful. Lenses are really useful. Without them, cameras aren't so good. Monitors are useful. Cables are useful. Batteries are useful. SD cards are useful. All of these things could qualify, but the one I've gone with is this, which is the Narbox 2.0. I've done a mega video on it. It's a way of offloading in the field and organizing and transcoding. It's like a mini computer. When I first got it, I thought this is something I'm just going to use short term because I've had loads of these sort of products in the past and I've never really continued to use them. But this one, I really have continued to use it for the past, maybe 5 months or so that I've had it. It really is incredibly useful, and that's why it's won this category. Another way to try and stop you guys getting annoyed with me for what I've decided wins each category is I've asked some other people to tell me what is their best camera gear of 2019.
Philip Bloom asks, what is your favorite piece of camera gear that you got this year and why? I think that would probably have to be the Blackmagic Pocket 4K. I know it actually came out in 2018, but I think with the back orders for most of us, it was a 2019 release. And I'm choosing it for 3 reasons. I talk about value a lot on my channel, and the Pocket 4K has presented easily one of the best value propositions for a camera, maybe ever. 2, I enjoyed tackling the obstacles that came with using it. It obviously does things a little differently, and finding a way to integrate it into my current setup allowed me to learn more about different accessories and workflows that I might not have otherwise attempted. And 3, it urged me to finally give Resolve a try as my main and elite. Before, I'd only ever used it for color, but I'm glad because I've since learned a new program, and this camera is responsible for that. Basically, I love learning and trying new things, and the Pocket 4K was the biggest gear-based catalyst for me this year on that autodidactic journey.
Out of all camera gear that I tested this year, this is my favorite one. Moza Aircross 2 with the Zeiss 55 and Sony a7 III, or actually the new Serial anamorphic that I fell in love with, the Sony a6400. The standard Mavic 2 Pro, and my favorite slider of all time, the Moza Slipod. I wish you all a happy new year.
Hi, my name is Nino Leitner. The Rode Wireless Go is my camera accessory of the year. Why? Well, it's very, very small. It's the smallest wireless audio transmitter I've ever used. It's extremely convenient. You don't even have to use it with a lavalier mic. You can use the little thing itself and clip it onto someone's shirt or whatever to get some sound. It's super fast to set up, and because it's so small, it literally takes no space in your luggage. So this has become my go-to wireless kit when I'm alone without a sound guy. And I'm very surprised that there hasn't been anything like it before. So props to Rode, this is amazing.
Now it's time for best lens. This is another tough category because I've used a lot of lenses this year, a lot of new ones. For me, it's between 2 of them. One of them is what is essentially quite an ordinary sounding lens, and the other one is a very strange lens. And the ordinary sounding lens is the one that's filming me right now, which is the Sony FE 35mm 1.8. It's got a really lovely close focus. It's not on a very small camera right now, but when you put it onto your Sony a7 III type cameras, it's the perfect combination. The problem we have with so many mirrorless lenses is they're so big. I have a 50mm Zeiss planar 1.4, and it's way too big for me to walk around with, so I hardly ever use it. But this lens lives on my camera, although it's not actually mine, it's a loaner, so. But it's a fantastic lens. And the other lens is the Laowa probe lens. I think this is a fantastic lens. When I first got here, I was like, I don't think I'm ever gonna use this. It's just, I love the idea of it, but I couldn't figure out when I'd use it. But then I got the Slipod, and it just worked so well together, and I fell in love with it. Love this lens. This lens is fantastic. It's not a practical lens like the 35mm, but it's a very, very special lens. Okay, I'm going to cheat again. So I'm going to split it up into two categories. Sorry, but hey, it's my awards, all right? The next award is for Best 3-Axis Gimbal. I have used quite a few different ones this year, but two of them have definitely stood out for me. These are the ones I have actually made separate videos of. That is the DJI Ronin SC, which is the more refined and lighter version of the Ronin S, but it doesn't take as heavy a payload, and you can have issues if you have heavier front lenses. So it's not ideal for every setup, but it is a much, much lighter gimbal than the S, which I always found to be a bit heavy. The other gimbal is from Zion, whatever you want to call it, Weeble S. Well, I've done a long video about it, so if you want to watch that, it's definitely worth it. It's one of the most entertaining videos I've made this year, and I am biased, but I do actually think that.
Oh, Jesus!
Oh God! Oh God!
Oh my God, it's getting really hard.
It is very similar performance-wise to the Ronin SC. When it comes to just basic operation, it's got just a different sort of design and style. What's unique about it is the new image transmission system that they have, which is really good and integrates with the app, and it's just superb, and you can use it standalone away from the actual gimbal. And I think it's that part of it which makes it stand out more for me and gives it the award for Best Gimbal of 2019. As we're halfway through, perfect time to thank Skillshare for making this video possible. Really? Wait, don't skip through. I know you've heard a lot of this in videos before. Things like it's an online learning community for creators with thousands of classes in design, etc, etc. But if you take the chance to actually have a look and see what there is, you may find some stuff there which is actually really useful for you. Maybe you've wanted to try new things. I have wanted to make my own for a while. Or do things better. How rude. If you've ever wanted to shoot time-lapse, there's a really terrific course by Drew Geraci, who I personally know is one of the best in the business. There's so much on here. Cat. If you click the link in the description, you'll get 2 months free access. And if you want to carry on after that, it works out about $10 a month. Okay, time to get back to the awards. Good. The next category was probably one of the toughest ones, and that is Best Light. This year I've got loads and loads of new lights. A lot of them are not new to this year, I got them this year. I'm being lit with the Aperture 120D Mark II, which is a fantastic light, and I love their 300D. Aperture makes some terrific lights. Bit of depth, patterns on the side here, coming from the banister. So those could qualify, they should qualify because it's something I got this year. But I'm getting the smaller lights because these are the ones which I found really fascinating. Like I have this one here, which is the Lumi, and it's great. They do an RGB one as well, and this is bi-color. Look, it's not designed, I mean, it's not just to be worn as a bracelet or a choker. It is, it's just a place anywhere kind of LED with built-in battery. It's really cool. If it wasn't for these other two, it would definitely win the award. I think these are really cool. It's between these two lights here, which is the Relio 2, which is a nice Italian light, and the Aperture MC, which everybody's talked about already, RGB light. Very cool, very cheap. I've used the Relio 2 loads in my videos, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. The power you get from this, it's really strong, hard light, and I absolutely love it, and I use it all the time. And then we have the MC, which is probably the coolest light I've used because it has a number of killer features. Yeah, it has the magnet on the back, which is obviously nice for plonking it onto things. It is RGB, so we have any color you want and also FX. It is also bi-color, which is incredibly important. It's also pretty bright, but I think the killer feature is the app. The app is terrific. It links up all of your lights which are compatible with it, and it's just easy to use, fantastic, a joy. It's a cold, wet and miserable Saturday night outside, but I'm in here and it's lovely and cozy. I have fires going on around me and I have Lollipop in my arms, making me look a bit like old school Bond villain Blofeld, but well, I'm not. Those aren't real fires, obviously, because I am in London and we're not allowed to have real fires here. I love these lights. I don't think you can have enough of these. But then there's the Relio 2, and I love these as well. I would say the MC is more of an everyday practical light, and you can use it for so many things. But there's something very special about these Relios, the fact that you can just change the lenses and you can have the different effects and much more floody, spotty, all sorts of different things. I just think they're terrific little lights. So I'm going to be a complete cop-out and just give it to them both. Best lights of 2019 are the Relio 2 and the Aperture MC. If you do watch my videos, you'll know already who's won this when I tell you this next category is Best Monitor. Small HD are by far my favourite brand of monitors. I think they're just fantastic. And there's been a couple of them which have been standouts for me this year. There's the Focus 7, which I did a review of. I think it's amazing, it's great value and it's a terrific image. It is HDMI only, but if you don't have SDI cameras, there's nothing wrong with that. But the one that has won is the one that I have said is my favourite monitor of all time, and is the 702 Touch. It's an incredibly good monitor with SDI, HDMI, cross conversion. It's really bright, great for outdoors, so well made. I just love everything about it. And the video I actually made about this monitor is probably about as creative as I've been in a long time. To make a video just about a monitor and to be as visually inventive as possible. I really pulled out all the stops for that. So do check out that video, but definitely Small HD 702 Touch is my best monitor of 2019.
What is up, you wonderful people? My name's Cody Warner. My favorite piece of filmmaking gear that I got this year was in January of this year, and is this little guy, the Insta360 One X. Not necessarily used as a 360 camera, but as an overcapture device where we pull out this HD image from what it's capturing, what it's done for action sports, what it's done for behind the scenes, what it's done for solo filmmakers, which is what I am, the options that it opened up for us. Gotta be Insta360 One X. Thanks, Phil.
Okay, so there's nowhere cool to film inside my house right now, so that's why I'm sitting in my car in my driveway. So my favorite purchase of 2019 has been nothing. I haven't actually bought any like camera equipment or like gear this year. But one thing that I have just started using this year for the first time is Music Bed. I first started using Artlist. I still really love Artlist. I use them both. I've found that Artlist is probably better for soft piano, cinematic kind of music. And then Music Bed is really, really good for upbeat music, like singer-songwriter kind of stuff. I found some really, really excellent songs on Music Bed and I love using their service. It's super easy. Yeah, thanks for having me in your video. Philip, Happy New Year, everyone. Merry Christmas. Back to you.
It's no secret that I love my Rode microphones. I'm being recorded right now on the NT-G5, which is terrific, really light and short and sounds great. Also from Rode, the Wireless Go. That radio mic set that they brought out earlier this year is just revolutionary. So small. It isn't the best sounding radio mic system you can get. It doesn't have the biggest range of any radio mic system you can have, but it is the smallest. And having a transmitter which has a built-in mic on there, if you want to use it, is so cool for just quick operation. Or do what I would use, which is plug in a Smart Lav Plus. It's such a cool little setup. Really love how it works, love how easy it is to use. It is, for me, definitely the best microphone of 2019. And now it's time for the best drone of 2019. There's not been much here, to be honest with you, because I've only got one new drone this year. Although I did get my Mavic 2 Pro modified, or I got a second one for infrared, which looks fantastic. It's not a new drone, it's just a modified version of it, but I love what it can do. It's beautiful. And I have just received the anamorphic lens for the Mavic Pro 2 from Mavic 2 Pro. I keep getting it wrong. Mavic 2 Pro from Moment Lenses. I haven't had a chance to use it. I'm looking forward to using that. But the only drone I've got that's new is the Mavic Mini. But it's really cool and it's really small. And I really like it. It's not perfect, doesn't have an amazing image, not compared to its bigger brothers, but it is incredibly portable. The battery life lasts ages. Okay, it is under 250 grams, which means it circumvents certain laws in certain countries. Here, it just means you don't have to register yourself as a drone operator. I think that's basically what it is. Doesn't change anything commercially, it's just anything over that, you just simply need to go on an online test, which is very easy, and make sure all of your drones are marked up with your number. I think you pay £9 a year. Whereas this one you don't need to do that for. That's about it. In other countries it's more important. It lets you fly drones where you couldn't before. But it's a very cool product and it is my winner. Best drone of 2019.
I know what you're doing. You're trying to make me sell your affiliate links. All right, well done. Fine. Best tech of 2019, iPhone 11. You didn't let me finish. Drone. Drone. Not for the tech, not for obvious reasons that you think. I actually don't like Apple. The image is pretty good. I can't lie. The HDR is a great preview of what the next phase of drones are gonna look like. But what's even better is when you make Potato Jet fly the drone. Well, all right, here.
Oh,
I want no responsibility over this.
that is insane. Works every time. Works every time until it doesn't. Yeah, right. Poor children get murdered.
All right, guys, have a great new year. I'll see you in 2020.
Okay, Philip said the best camera gear in 2019 is easy. It has to be Panasonic S series of camera. S1, S1R, S1H, they are all great. Not the autofocus, but everything else of those cameras are great. So I actually picked 3. So cheers, 2019. It had been bad, so not gonna miss it. So let's look forward to 2020.
Now it's time for the 2 big categories. First one is best stills camera. There's been quite a few cameras come out which fit into this category, and I think the Sony a7R IV is a terrific camera, but it can't win this because the video, apart from the autofocus improvements, isn't any different to the previous generations of video. So we need to see that 10-bit, we need to see that A7S III eventually come out, really. So it's not one of those. It can't be the Panasonics because I haven't used them yet. Well, for me, it's actually quite easy and quite simple. It's a camera that I use to shoot a documentary in the summer, and it's a documentary which I think is the best thing I've ever made, to be honest with you.
The spine cord is injured, if not cut.
It's a camera that I salivated over when I first heard about it, and it didn't disappoint. It's a terrific, amazing, incredible stills camera that shoots beautiful video. It's the Fuji GFX 100. Yeah, I know it's not cheap, it's an expensive camera. It's medium format, 100 megapixels, which you don't need for video at all, but it shoots 4K beautifully, has really good IBIS. The autofocus is pretty good. It's 10-bit internal. There is no 60p, it's up to 30p, but it's just a fantastic camera, and I love the image so much. It is my best stills camera that shoots video too of 2019. Next up is best video camera. So what's the difference between a video camera and a stills camera that shoots video? Well, it doesn't shoot stills, is one of the main things. It has all of the should have all of the big benefits of a video camera, proper audio connections, proper video connections, etc, etc, etc. So that's what it kind of needs to be for me to look at it. Now, where does a cinema camera fit into this? Well, for me, a cinema camera is the video camera anyway. There's no real difference. It's just a name that certain cameras have. Most things can call themselves cinema cameras if they want to, but for me, they're just still video cameras. And there's some amazing ones out there. Last year, we had the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K come out, and I got that back in September, and that's a really terrific video camera. If you want to call it cinema camera, that's fine. It's an amazing camera for that price. It's just incredible. The 6K came out this year, but I haven't had any desire to even use it because I think the 4K, for me, seems way more practical with that micro four thirds mount and a really lovely sensor. You can adapt it with speed boosters and get a much wider field of view than you're going to get with the Super 35 6K. So for me, not that interested in it really. And there's loads of other great cameras. Zcam or Zcam have brought out their E2 S6, which is their Super 35mm 6K. What I'm really waiting for is their full frame 6K and 8K cameras. That's what I'm really excited about, but they're not out yet. So, I mean, they would be good contenders, but they're not out yet. So, the Marvo LF from Kinefinity, which I talked about very briefly in last year's video because I just got it, is an incredible camera. Amazing. It's just got so much going for it. It's just one of the best cameras I've ever owned. And then the camera that's filming me right now, which is the Sony FX9. And it's terrific. Amazing image. It's full frame, amazing low light. Amazing autofocus, which I love. I'm making a detailed video of it right now, and will be out as soon as possible. And I am making a video on the Marvo LF. I know I've been promising this for a long time now, but I've had so much of my year eaten up by the MZ masterclass that I've made. The filmmaking for photographers literally has taken up about 9 to 10 months of this year. I spent about 6 months of this year just in post-production.
I'm sure it was sunny a minute ago.
So I'm just so behind on everything that I need to review, and the pressure has been really quite strong over the past 3 or 4 months to get this finished. And well, it is pretty much finished now. I've got the last episode coming out shortly, and then it's done. Then I can catch up with all of my other reviews I need to do, including the Marvo LF. So what's the winner though? Well, it's going to be a bit of a spoiler for the review, but I would say it's this. It's the FX9. I think it's absolutely amazing, and I will explain why in detail in my video. But what about the C500 Mark II from Canon, Philip? I haven't used it. I'm sorry, I haven't used it. It's probably amazing too, because I love the C200, but I haven't used it, and I've seen it, but I've never shot with it. So hopefully next year I'll get a chance to shoot with it. But as of right now, this FX9 is just absolutely amazing, and it is my very worthy winner of this category. There is actually one last category, and that for me is like best innovation of the year. And it's such an obvious one. If you know me, it's such an obvious one. I love autofocus when it works, and we've now have video cameras and stills cameras which have amazing autofocus, but for video, the fact that we have it working so well in so many cameras now is terrific. And we have eye tracking autofocus in video now on the Sony a7R IV and the RX100 Mark VII and the Sony a9 Mark II. But what is new, which is terrific, is eye autofocus for animals, so I can shoot my cats and get their eyes in focus. And I love it, it's amazing. What we need now though is for it to work in video. Eye autofocus tracking is coming to the FX9, but I've heard nothing about Animal One for either this camera or their stills cameras. Hopefully it will come, but right now, even for just stills, is the innovation for me. It's amazing. They're my winners. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm sure you didn't agree with a lot of what I said, but you know, make your own video. This is my best camera gear of 2019, and I'll see you next year for other videos, and also probably at the end of the year for best camera gear of 2020. But God, that's like a year away. Give me a break.
My favourite piece of kit that I bought this year are the Rode Go's.
My favourite piece of gear for 2019, the Rodecaster Pro.
Weeble S is without a doubt my favorite thing this year.
No box.
Rode Wireless Go, Panasonic S1.
The Osmo Pocket.
Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K.
Delta Nucleus Nano.
DJI Ronin SC.
My favorite stills camera of 2019 is the Sony a7R IV.
Three-legged things, Ellie bracket.
The Freewell wide-angle lens for Osmo Pocket.
Red Dragon X 6K.
Ruin Weeble S.
The Sony full-frame 85mm f1.8.
My favourite piece of gear that I have accumulated this year is the Miller CX2 tripod system. It's amazing.